Hey guys, this video is gonna be a little different than my regular makeup tutorials. Instead of instructions, I will be rambling on voiceover about how much and why exactly I love Birds of Prey, because I just feel a lot about this movie and I have the need to explain it a bit. Before everything, just to give some background, I have been reading Harley Quinn comics since about 2016 and I have been studying film since 2018, although this is gonna be less about the quote artistic qualities of the film and more about my personal opinion of the characters and how well they were portrayed. So, Birds of Prey. This movie is messy, confusing, loud, and colorful. The storytelling and narration are all over the place, making the narrative spread out and get pieced together through a confusing non-chronological order of events. And that is exactly how I would have imagined Harley Quinn's point of view would be shown on screen. Her narration was perfect, all the fourth wall breaks were exactly in the right moments to break the tension and bring some character into the scene. That messy and colorful structure is exactly what made Birds of Prey the most entertaining DC movie I have ever seen. I'm sorry, no shade, but it is. And let's talk about the soundtrack first. Holy shit. Okay, first, the instrumental soundtrack. Instead of the usual orchestral, quote, invisible movie music, everything had somewhat of an industrial or mechanical sound. This helped the atmosphere so much, like the chase scene where Harley put on the skates and skated with the car. The music was loud and mechanical and almost siren-like and noticeable. It didn't try to blend in with the scene. While it did fit, it was its own thing. This also stands for more emotional scenes, like the statue pierce scene in the end with Roman. The music was emotional and soft, but it has this unnatural, distorted quality about it, which complements Harley's character and words so well. I also absolutely loved the actual song choices they put in the soundtrack. Making use of classic rock songs, along with current hip-hop and just generally alternative music, all together they formed a playlist I listen to on repeat every single day. So, the songs are good. But even better was the way they were used. Almost every single fight scene had at least one song. Like, for example, the sequence where Harley breaks Cassandra out of prison. The loudest song that played during the water fight made the entire thing feel so much more intense and entertaining. Personally, in action movies, I sometimes find myself kind of bored of fight scenes between the main character and nameless henchmen, etc., because most of the time they really don't do anything to the story besides showing the main character's strength and the physical obstacles they have to get through to reach their goal. But here, I was so entertained just by seeing the beautiful fight choreography accompanied by the song. The songs and the loud instrumental music throughout the movie point out how we are seeing everything in this movie through Harley's point of view. When she's in an intense fight scene, the music is loud and banshee-like. In a chase scene, like when Montoya finds her in the beginning, it's a sort of video game music. And when she's in an emotional scene, distorted choir music. Throughout almost the entire movie, the music didn't serve as a background, but as its own element in the scene to add more character. It never tried to hide itself. Also, the present fight scenes are a segue to my next point. The fight scenes in this movie are gorgeous. One of the main things I loved about the fight scenes, besides the soundtrack and the choreo, was how they were filmed and edited. It was so satisfying to just see the fights in wider shots and less cuts, as opposed to the usual shot reverse shot and fast-paced, headache-inducing editing that's common in certain action movies. The fight scenes were mostly shot in long or medium shots to show the whole scene and put focus on the choreography. That meant the choreography here did most of the work, and the editing and videography sort of stepped back to put a spotlight on the choreo from a longer distance and more subtle camera movements that worked in harmony with the dynamics of the fight. The music, filming, editing, all these elements tied together to make fight scenes that felt actually entertaining and full of character, even when they didn't actually advance the plot, not in very meaningful ways. They were just so entertaining. Also, can we just talk about how visually stunning this movie is? The set design, everything is just so aesthetically pleasing and absolutely perfect for a movie told from Harley's perspective. With all due respect to Christopher Nolan, I much prefer the 80s to 90s Batman over the dark grey 2000s version, simply for the pure absurd neon cyberpunk type aesthetic, specifically in Batman vs. Robin. It's so weird and surreal, but it's based on a comic book. Obviously it will be like that. And I really feel like Birds of Prey took that aesthetic and went full out with it. The amusement park scene, sequence, and the Black Mask Club, everything just had this gorgeous, somewhat surreal quality that gave this movie such a perfect atmosphere. On that subject, let's also talk quickly about the costume design. It is absolutely perfect. I've seen a lot of people talk about how it feels like the characters themselves chose their outfits, and I agree 100%. Harley just dresses how the fuck she wants to, mixing bright colors and just crazy-ass items that form this clown-like, almost anti-male gaze look. Now, as someone who's read the comics, I am fully aware and kinda love Harley's sexual nature as a part of her character. With that, there's a really good distinction in this movie from Suicide Squad. This can and should absolutely be a debate of male versus female costume designers and directors, but I don't have enough knowledge of the production of either movie, so let's instead talk about it on a character and plot point of view. So, in Suicide Squad, Harley was still with the Joker, constantly trying to draw his attention and please him. She kept trying to make herself more attractive for him, like the long curled hair, very short shorts, tight clothing, perfect makeup, insanely high heels, shirt that says Daddy's Little Monster, a clown aesthetic, etc. Well, what the fuck did he get her? Jack shit! No matter what she did, she could never please the abusive asshole. The Joker is an incredible character, but it should have been pointed out that their relationship was horrible. If anything, Harley deserved a relationship like Roman and Zaz had, but that's on another video. Yeah, so Harley and Joker broke up. She no longer has someone that she feels that she needs to dress for. She no longer tries to be, quote, sexy for anyone but herself. She wears all this beautifully mismatched shit because she herself loves it, and that's it. Even though she's literally in shorts and sports bra in that one scene in Birds of Prey, she feels like the crazy but sexy Suicide Squad look, and more like she looks so fucking good, but she's also so too ridiculous for the crazy but sexy look because she's finally her own character without being dependent on her relationship with a man kind of thing, you know? Along with that, Harley finally gets some actual complexity. She was shown some complex potential in Suicide Squad, but here they really went deeper into her character. She finally showed some actual vulnerability with her caring for Cassandra, also making use of her background as a psychologist for both snarky comments towards other characters and actual plot devices in the way she talked to Cass and Roman. I love that. It felt so true to a representation of her comic persona and making use of several fronts of her character. And besides that, each main character had their own important part of the movie. They weren't just there to fight bad guys and get the diamond. Everyone had some sort of connection and motivation to be in the story. Everything tied together so well, especially with the chronologically fucked up plot format. Everyone had their own place, their own backstory that ties in with the plot, strengths and weaknesses, personalities, etc. And the best thing about that is how well everyone worked together. The general group dynamics in this movie are so entertaining, but my favorite thing was how they all had their own reason to protect Cassandra. Renee, Black Canary, Huntress, and Harley all have this sort of parental protective attachment to Cass. Renee knows her from her previous arrests and feels sorry for her. Diana lives in the same building as her and cares for her as another orphan. Harley takes her in and mentors her. And even though Huntress came in pretty late, they still managed to give her a genuine attachment to Cass. The way Huntress protects Cass in the amusement park fight scene, she gives her the flip phone that she held onto when her family was murdered, and she tells her to hold onto it and close her eyes. It makes it so clear that Huntress sees all that violence Cass is experiencing around her and remembers the similar violence she endured around the same age and tries to save Cass from experiencing the same thing. It's so good! Nothing beyond it. It's just so good! And all these connections make their fighting to protect her make so much more sense than just saving a random kid because of a diamond or something, like, because it's a good thing to do. And this movie just truly understands the importance of an emotional dimension in action movies. Without someone to protect, what's the point of fighting? Also, Roman Sionis. Oh my god, Ewan McGregor was wonderful. Roman's character, while I'm not that familiar with his character in the comics, from what I saw in the movie, he was the perfect parody of Joker's entitled, abusive attitude, and the final confrontation between Harley and Roman on the statue pier was a beautiful way to show her full emancipation from the Joker. By Cassandra killing Roman with the grenade, Harley finally found herself as an individual, and thanks to her friends. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but I wanted to point out Roman and Zaz's relationship and how it was so wonderfully fucked up. They had such an interesting dynamic, with Roman being a bratty bitch throwing tantrums, and Zaz calming him down and channeling Roman's frustration and aggression towards actual goals and actions. They balance each other out. And my favorite part was right before Huntress shoots and kills Zaz. He says to Diana,
"That's why he needs me to look out for him. That's why he needs me to take care of him."
The relationship goes way beyond just an attention-seeking villain and his loyal little henchman. They have some sort of twisted dependency on each other. Zaz actually wants to protect Roman, not from money or from fear. He just genuinely cares about him in some fucked up toxic way. It was so good. Oh my, well, I swear I could talk about this movie for 2 hours straight, but I am running out of time. So in summary, Birds of Prey is far from perfect, but it's genuinely my favorite DC movie I've seen so far. Also, making this movie R-rated was the best choice they could have made. It gave it the freedom to use explicit language and gore in such a way that made everything feel so satisfying. There's nothing more frustrating than something really fucked up happening in a PG-13 movie and the characters being like, "Oh boy, that sucks." Oh my god, I seriously need to see Harley say fuck on screen, and I'm so happy we got that. Well, anyways, thank you all so much for watching. This is a much different format that I'm used to, so I hope you guys enjoy that. So I might even do something where I actually talk while putting on my makeup without a voiceover. We'll see. I really enjoyed making this film analysis. I might do something for a TV show or something. We'll see. For more content, check out my Insta, GhostDrakos, Twitter, GhostDragonCos, and subscribe to Cosplay Unite! Also, I put TikToks here because I forgot to film my makeup in motion, so y'all can enjoy that. Alright, thank you so much for watching, bye!